Hi everybody, my name is Justin and welcome to Game On. We have a request from my friend Troy over at Facility D20. He makes amazing art, 3D sculptures, terrain, and minis for his RPGs. So make sure to check out his channel, which I'll have linked up here at the end of this video. And he asked, Justin, what spells and new things, including classes and abilities, should we expect to see in the new Spelljammer for 5e? And because you guys love to ask me questions, I love to answer them. And luckily, I got a couple cool answers for you. So let's strap into our helms and talk about the new 5th edition class, subclasses, and spells we should be seeing in the new books. Before we get going, I do want to say that we are trying to take 2nd edition rules from the Skills and Powers book and the Spacefarer's Handbook and try to make them work in the 5th edition ethos. There will be some holes missing because we don't have all of the information that we could have for the new 5th edition Spelljammer game, but we will try to make it work as best as we can. So first we're going to talk about the one and only new class we should expect to see in Spelljammer 5th edition conversion, and that is the Corsair. Now the Corsair is a power and kit for the Fighter and Rogue class in the Power and Kits book from 2nd edition. However, I don't see that fitting as its subclass in the way 5th edition works, so I actually expect it to be in its own thing. So what is a Corsair, you ask? Well, a Corsair is somebody who has sworn allegiance through a writ or a mark to a sovereign country or planet to protect its area and space at all costs. However, it's not so much for king and country and for honor and valor, but more for the highest bidder. Corsairs get their power through their writ or their marking, and that's what gives them both their authoritative power through word and through magic. Corsairs will do anything it takes to make sure that their space is protected, either through kidnapping, torture, murder, or being the best pirate out there, because who wants to mess with a pirate's space if they are a big ol' mean pirate? Now, most of the time, that sovereign nation or planet does not want to know at all how the Corsair gets the job done. They just care that they do get the job done. Why I don't think it'll work as a Paladin Oath itself in its own class is because, again, they don't necessarily get their power from an oath. They get their power from that writ or marking that they are given, which can be taken away from them by that sovereign nation or planet. And they are more arcane focused than they are divinely focused. So what should we expect them to be able to do that is different from paladins and fighters in general? Well, I actually happen to expect them to be built like a paladin. That is a fighter class with a half-caster table with them. Except instead of lay on hands, I expect some sort of point system that can help restore spell slots to their fellow PC crew members. But wouldn't that be interesting? But I also not only expect something like that and all the abilities to be able to cast arcane spells as a half-caster, as well as have fighting styles and being able to wear basically whatever armor they want. I expect them to have a kind of aura similar to 5th edition paladins, that because they are known for their bravery and legendary leadership, the Corsair class should have an aura that also helps with initiative bonuses. But so far, that's really all that we can extrapolate from the 2nd edition kits and powers of the Corsair into the 5th edition rules ethos, so it'll be interesting to see how we can get a full-fledged table and leveling system for the Corsair in 5th edition. But next, let's go on to our subclasses that we should expect to see. Okay, so the first subclass I expect to see in the new 5th edition, out of the 3 that I expect to see, is the Master Marine, which is a subclass for the fighter. So not only do they get the cool things that fighters get, but they are an expert at tactical boarding actions in ship-to-ship combat, and ship-to-ship obviously can also mean Spelljammers. I expect them to get an initiative bonus when it comes to hand-to-hand combat, when the tactical ship-to-ship combat breaks down into a boarding action, I expect that Master Marine to not only go first in initiative, but also maybe get some sort of bonus surprise or extra action because they are the ones who are ready to go and jump onto that ship and fight them. Also, Master Marines from 2nd edition are known to be fearless, so I expect them to have some sort of bonus to save against fear, either through frightful presences that we'll get in some of these monsters that we have in 5th edition, or against fear effects from spells. I also expect them to be able to help re-roll other people's spell saves for fear effects, because I know for a fact that a Master Marine in 2nd edition and the 3rd edition unofficial conversion to Spelljammer gives them the powers to help other people shake off fear. And that would be such a cool thing to have in turn-based combat when we're going from ship to ship in the new Spelljammer. So for those of you who are following along at home, let's open our Spacefarer's Guide to page 23 and take a look at the Imposter, which is a kit for the Wizard. Except for in 5th edition, I don't expect this subclass kit to be for the Wizard, but for the Rogue. Why? Because I think Rogues already make great Imposters, and even though we have the 13th level ability for the Assassin Rogue called Imposter, this subclass is totally different from the Assassin in the fact that they are not designed to just give gnarly amounts of damage and kill things basically at will, but their job is to be the face of the party if they come up across scary monsters in the Astral Sea. A lot of people tend to forget that rogues can be the face of the party. They have very good charisma skills as well as a boost to charisma when it comes to saves, so why not lean into that with a subclass and give them something that lets them change how they look, how they talk, maybe even how they smell, how they sound, because we need a person on our crew who can get us out of danger by being able to talk to these alien races and pretend to either be one of them or pretend to be somebody who they're afraid of, because sometimes little old gnomes and halflings and humans are definitely not that scary to big insect thrycreens. So I really think that this subclass build should be able to give these imposter rogues the ability to cast Minor Illusion at obviously 1st level as cantrips, but leveling up to maybe 9th level like a half-caster would, be able to cast Major Image without concentration. That's the important key here. I want to be able to not be magically detected, and I want to be able to pretend to be another person without magic at all detecting me. I think that that's what's going to be very important for the imposter rogue, so they can be the face of the party and pretend to be somebody else almost every time without being able to be, in later levels, magically detected. They should be able to lie very well, maybe get an extra expertise in deception or persuasion or something, so that you can lean into the fact that they make a great face for the party. Okay, for the last subclass, we are going to take a look at page 29 of the Spacefarer's Handbook, and we're going to take a look under Rogue, and you're going to see Courier, but I think that better lends itself to Bard in the 5th edition ethos. You ever see The Postman? It's definitely not a good movie, and it's not Tom Petty's best career move, but in that movie, it does a good example of showing how important it is not only to scattered government entities as well as the people in general, how important it is to deliver messages across wide terrain and crazy dangerous territory. And since bards are already great at discussing orally as well as written and through song and through interpretive dance, all these different kinds of messages and tales, why not give it to the bard in 5th edition to be able to magically carry these messages across the Astral Sea and not be able to be forced to describe or speak of those secrets. The idea of this subclass is to help create somebody who is sworn to secrecy when it comes to making very special conversations and topics and lore and information spread across the astral sea throughout all the different spheres. This subclass can't be magically compelled to break their oath to keep that a secret. I also think that we should expect to see them be able to use message, not maybe so locally, but maybe even plainly use message, or use sending and give them that a more at will at higher levels. On top of that, I think that the courier subclass should be able to, at low levels, do telepathy, and I also think that because they are so focused on mind magic and how they keep themselves pure and able to not be broken, I think that they should be able to deal psychic damage better than regular bards and other arcane casters would. So I expect them to be able to reroll 1s and 2s on die when it comes to doing psychic damage. So if you like this Spelljammer content, make sure to leave us a like so that we know, as well as consider subscribing if you like tabletop gaming in general, because that's what Game On loves to talk about, anything that has to do with tabletop gaming, board games, RPGs, wargaming. Thank you guys so much. Okay, so let's quickly go over the spells that I expect to see from the old Spelljammer, kind of converted into 5th edition. And the first one is a accelerate ship / maneuverability spell. Think of haste, but for your Spelljammer. Helmsman should be able to possibly cast this, or maybe another mage on the ship. Basically, the idea of this spell would be to make your ship go faster, or be able to dodge incoming fire much easier. So the next spell I expect to see is Air Sphere from the Spelljammer in older editions, and this is designed to create an emergency breathable airspace envelope around you and a couple other party members in case your ship explodes, or you're part of a life raft, or you're just in really bad territory. It's different from any of the mansions or the huts or the spheres from older editions or from 5th edition. This is really designed to just keep you safe for a little bit. However, at higher levels, I do expect it to be able to stick and also be able to be big enough to be around a small ship. Maybe not a big Spelljammer, but maybe like a small ship's boat, or maybe a big life raft. The next one I expect to see is Disable Helm, which I think at low levels will be a touch spell. And what Disable Helm allows you to do is allows for epic getaways and pretty cool montages of just disabling an enemy's ship. Disabling Helm will temporarily make it so that the pilot cannot get into the helm of the Spelljammer and actually make it go, making it easier for you to, again, get away if you're running from pirates or maybe the police. But I think at higher levels, when cast at high levels, you will be able to cast it over range. So let's say that you're in a battle with another Spelljammer. If it's within range, one of the casters can disable the helm, and that will leave that Spelljammer dead in the water for a certain amount of rounds, depending on how high of a level you cast it. And finally, the last spell I expect to see is Stabilize Gravity. This is the Bane to reverse gravity. Think about a Spelljammer ship with a fake artificial gravity plane on it. Now, if you are a caster and you cast reverse gravity on that ship, it can tear that ship apart, literally, just rip it to shreds. So you need to have an answer to reverse gravity in the astral sea, or just in space in general, because you don't want your Spelljammer just to explode. So the answer to that is Stabilize Gravity, which I think would be the same level, 7th level, or is that 8th level? I think that should be able to be a reaction to the reverse gravity spell, because I think it would be very important to keep gravity the way it is. I don't expect this to have any impact on spheres or planets' local bodies, because I think that would just be way too powerful to be able to negate the gravity well of a very large planet, but it will definitely help with anybody who casts reverse gravity on you or your Spelljammer. Alright, so that's what we have today for what we should expect to see in the 5th edition Spelljammer ethos. Are you guys excited? Do you have any other ideas of things that we could be seeing? Can you fill in any of the gaps that maybe I'm missing? Thank you guys so much for watching. Again, Troy, thank you for this suggestion and question. Guys, don't forget to go watch Troy after this. He makes amazing stuff. Don't forget to go watch a whole bunch of people that I have listed down in the description. Thank you all so much for watching. My name is Justin. I'm excited for Spelljammer. Are you? Thanks, guys, and game on.